Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and I hope you're doing very, very well today. I'd like to continue my discussion of the 2019 releases by the Criterion Collection. With that in mind, I'd like to talk about Spine number 959, and this is from 1967. It is this film, the very, very interesting film called In the Heat of the Night. In the Heat of the Night, Norman Jewison directed, screenplay by Sterling Sullivan, starring Sidney Poitier and also starring Rod Steiger, in a film that is very powerful for what it stands for amidst the times in which it was made. This is 1967. And so at the heart of its symbolic importance, if you will, is the way in which it deals head-on with race relations in the United States at the time. And it does so within the guise or in the context, in the immediate context of this mystery, murder mystery. It's almost like a police procedural or detective thriller, and these two officers, played by Sidney Poitier and Rod Steiger, have to form a kind of uneasy alliance in order to get at the heart of the mystery, what happened. And so that is the essence of the film. But as I say, I think its symbolic importance cannot be overstated. I think it is even now watching it's a film that has a lot of power, because every scene is charged with a kind of social meaning. Every moment and every movement is infused with a kind of social significance that runs deeper than perhaps the film itself. And that's probably another way for me to say that, at least for me, I think that the film has what I would call, as a mystery thriller, it's kind of okay. I would say perhaps that the mystery thriller element of the film is the weaker part of the film. The overwhelmingly strong elements of this film are undoubtedly the significance of this historically, socially, and also connected with that, the towering, monumental performances by Sidney Poitier and by Rod Steiger. They form the heart, the uneasy, shaky, unstable, yet fundamentally true heart of this film, which is, as I say, a film that has so much historical and social significance. So their performances are at the heart of this significance, which makes their performances so bold, so brave, quite risky, and ever so charismatic and electrifying. There's so much kind of emotional charge and voltage that you feel. It's almost just jumping out from the screen, ready to stun you and to surprise you. It certainly did me. And so that is what I think is at the heart of this really brilliant work, In the Heat of the Night. I think it's probably more brilliant in the sense of what it's trying to say on a grand theme, rather than its immediate plot. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that shouldn't in any way detract from the greatness and brilliance of this film. I think, on the contrary, that it ages better when one thinks of it as a kind of social critique, and in the context of United States history in the late 20th century. So yes, In the Heat of the Night, in those terms, I believe, is one of the most significant films in late 20th century U.S. history. So with that in mind, my friends, we have here the Criterion Collection release of In the Heat of the Night, spine number 959. Now, let me just go over very quickly what's here. So, on the back it says that it's a new 4K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack. So yes, this is a beautiful presentation. The colors are rich, and it has an immediacy to it, and so it's great, and the sound is great. The soundtrack is so alive and vibrant, so well done. Then there are new interviews with director Norman Jewison and actor Lee Grant. Now, I should say that these interviews are stunning, just stunning. Norman Jewison still is he is filled with so much intelligence and wit, and he is still as articulate as ever, and you can tell he has a lot of passion for this project. Great interview with Norman Jewison. And I must say that the interview with Lee Grant here is one of the best supplements from Criterion that I have seen in a while. Now, I admit that while I knew of Lee Grant's professional career and the history that surrounded that career and how it was affected by certain activities of the House Un-American Activities Committee in the United States Congress in the late 20th century. So I kind of knew that background, but I admit I wasn't aware of the full details of her career, at least in the context of that history. And so to watch this interview with her now many years later is such an eye-opening, remarkable interview. She is articulate, she is passionate, she is angry, rightly so. She is filled with a lot of intelligence, as always, and she is filled with a lot of compassion as well. And all this is distilled into this interview where she talks about her life and her career, and also she talks about this film. So this interview with Lee Grant is stunning, simply stunning. Strongly, strongly recommended. Then there is a segment from a 2006 American Film Institute interview with actor Sidney Poitier, and this is a brilliant, brilliant interview, I must say. It's really great to have this on the Criterion disc. Sidney Poitier is so charming and erudite and so intelligent, and his comments are very, very pointed and very relevant. Well done, Criterion. Then there is a new interview with Aram Gutsuzian, who is the author of Sidney Poitier, Man, Actor, Icon. Now, this is a great interview with Gutsuzian, who is, I understand, not only a scholar of Sidney Poitier, but he's also a scholar of U.S. history. So this is great. He is very well-spoken, and he has a lot of great points about Poitier's career and how, therefore, this film becomes very, very significant. And so, yes, excellent, excellent interview. Then there is audio commentary from 2008. So I believe this commentary track from 2008 is from an earlier release of this film, a non-Criterion release of this film. And so what we have here is we have a number of supplements from that earlier 2000 release. So starting with this audio commentary. It's a great commentary, by the way. Highly recommended. But continuing with that, there is a program from 2008 called Turning Up in Heat, Movie Making in the 60s, a program about the production of the film and its legacy. So this is a 2008 documentary. It's not a Criterion produced documentary, but it's a documentary that talks about the film from the viewpoint of the participants and also from the perspective of contemporary filmmakers today, and talking about the film's legacy and historical and cultural impact that is lasting even to this very day. A great documentary. Then there is a documentary also from 2008 called Quincy Jones, Breaking New Sound. So this is talking about Quincy Jones, who of course supplied the soundtrack to this wonderful work, and it's a wonderful soundtrack. So the film is, so the documentary is talking about his life, briefly, and also his own career and how significant his career or his work on this film was in the context not only of his own career but also in the Hollywood community. Really informative. So this is also, I think, borrowed from an earlier 2008 release, but still, that doesn't make it any less of a significant supplement. So well done for including this. And let's see, then there's a trailer, and then there is the essay here, and the essay is also brilliant. The essay is called The Double Bind by K. Austin Collins. Highly recommended. So this is 959, spine number 959, In the Heat of the Night. As I said at the start of this video, I think for me the film operates on such a grand scale. It operates most successfully on this grand scale. And when we realize just how significant and shocking this film was, in particular some scenes here, which I can only imagine the shockwaves that must have been rippling throughout the theaters upon its initial release when certain scenes were emerging. And in fact, the commentary and some of the documentaries make reference to this. Probably the most famous being what's known colloquially as the slap heard around the world, and I'll just leave it at that. So, but yes, really, I can imagine, or I don't know if I can, but it's just important to try to appreciate the significance that this film really has. And oh boy, one has that that context while watching this film. This film becomes something so much more. It transcends the story that it's trying to deal with, and it becomes something so much larger, so much more important, so much bigger, and ultimately something that is elevated to some kind of higher level that occupies the sphere of art and also the sphere of history and also social history, and also something to do with this culture of America in this time, the 1960s. Oh boy, is this a really important work. So, my friends, this is In the Heat of the Night, spine number 959, for your consideration. Okay, my friends, that's it. So I hope you're doing very well, and until we meet again, please be happy and healthy and well, and please keep on watching a lot of great movies. Until we meet again, my friends, cheers.